Hey guys, welcome back to My COD Favorites. If you didn't see the last video, please check it out. I'm going over my personal favorite Call of Duty, and from Call of Duty 4 to Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm explaining what I did and didn't really like about each of the games. So like I said, if you haven't seen my last video, this is part 2, and the last part, I highly recommend that you go check that out first. Anyway, so let's just get right into it. Next, we're going on to Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2. It was for me. It was a really good game. I really enjoyed it. The first thing I want to say about it is it introduced something new to its streaks, which were score streaks. For everything in the game, for getting kill, getting an assist, getting a streak kill, getting like a flag capture, getting a tag on kill confirmed, whatever it was, you would always get some kind of score for it. You could have anything ranging from 10 to 20. Well, you'd have 10, 15, and 20. 10 for score streak assists, 15 for the higher score streak kills, and 25 for the low to medium high score streak kills. You'd get like 150 score for capturing a flag on. No, sorry, that's on all other games. You get like 50 score for getting a neutral flag on domination, 200 for the neutral B flag and capturing an enemy flag. You get like 50 points per kill on let's say kill confirmed, then 100 points per kill confirmed, 75 for if a teammate gets the confirm. You'd get a score for everything. You introduced a lot of new streaks. And I was actually a very, very big fan of the streaks in Black Ops 2. Of course, you had the UAV. You also had the RCXD, which was brought back from Black Ops 2. And in Black Ops 2, I forgot to mention in the last video, very, very overpowered, very overused. And once again, sorry for going back so much. Back to Black Ops 1, you could actually customize an emblem to make it look the way you want. You could adjust the colors, the shapes, things you put into it, all that. Back to Black Ops 2. They did bring that back. They did bring back being able to mix around and play with your player card. But yeah, anyway, back to the streaks, which, like I said, I was a really, really big fan of. You had the UAV, the RCXD, and you also had something called a Hunter Killer. If you never played Black Ops 2, Hunter Killer was a drone that you threw in the air. It would find an enemy that was in its line of sight, target it, swoop down, and explode in their face. Most likely killing them unless they had flak jacket. Next, they had the care package. They had, of course, they had the sentry gun again. You had a new thing called the Guardian, which was a placeable turret, I guess you could say. It's something that you place down. It shoots out radiation so that you could, so that whenever an enemy walks in that radiation path, they will slowly take damage and eventually become a French fry. They'll be fried to death. Also, the Hellstorm missile. The Hellstorm missile. It was basically like the Predator missile from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, except this time you would use L on the Xbox. You would use left trigger to boost, and instead of right trigger. And this time, actually, right trigger. What I did is that whenever an enemy was in the view and it had a more vivid red hexagon on it, then you could press right trigger to shoot down a cluster bomb that had homing missiles. So that was really good. Some other streaks were the stealth chopper, which that was basically like the attack helicopter, except it wouldn't be shown on the enemy's minimap. You also had the AGR, which was something that you could control remotely or let it just go around by itself. It was this little robot that fired a machine gun and missiles. That was a really, really fun streak to use. I really enjoyed that. Excuse me. You had the escort drone, which if you played Modern Warfare 3 but not Black Ops 2, then it's basically like the AH6 Overwatch. The escort drone would be personal air support. It would fly around, going wherever you moved, and it would shoot enemies. And you also had one of the coolest kill streaks in the game, but in my opinion, one of the least lethal. The A10 Warthog. It took 1,400 score to get, and in my opinion, really not worth it. I've gotten between 0 and like 7 kills between the entire thing. And that 7 kills was on Nuketown, mind you. If it was even 7, it might have been only like 4 or 5. But yeah, I mean, for the amount of score that it took, excuse me, it was really not a good streak. But it looked cool and it sounded cool, so that's really all that matters. Next, the Lodestar. If any of you played MW3 but not Black Ops 2, the Lodestar is basically like the Reaper. You had a laser designator, and wherever you were pointing that laser with the Lodestar, you would fire down a missile with the right trigger, once again on Xbox. And wherever the laser was, the missile would go and would explode whenever it hit something. This was a very, very lethal streak. Something you didn't really see a whole lot of, but when you did, it was one of those things where you really wanted to either quit the game or take it out with a few friends, because most of the time it did actually take a few people to take it out, because those missiles come down quite fast. Then you had at 1,600 score the VTOL warship, which was basically like the chopper gunner from Modern Warfare 2, but it was also kind of like the AC-130 from Modern Warfare 2, kind of a mix of those, where you could fire a machine gun and you could fire down rockets. The rockets, they weren't really all that helpful in my opinion. Like they were pretty useless from my experiences. But also you could once again on Xbox, you would use the left bumper to move positions on the map. You didn't get to choose; it was in a set pattern, but you could like go behind a building or whatever if someone was locking on you with a rocket. Yeah, you could actually move around. Next, something that you saw even less than the VTOL, the K9 unit. Yes, you guys should remember this from Black Ops 1 and from Call of Duty World at War. The K9 unit, very, very lethal. I think it was slightly less lethal than the Black Ops 1 attack dogs. Just because on Black Ops 2 you had slightly larger maps overall. But yeah, the K9 unit was for 1,700 score. On the smaller maps, it was really, really worth it. On the bigger maps, not so much. Then finally, oh god, I've been waiting to get to this part. The Swarm. If you guys remember, a couple minutes ago, I explained the Hunter-Killer drone. The one you throw in the air, locks onto an enemy, explodes. The Swarm. You call it in, and you see a bunch of Hunter-Killer drones just flying around the map. I think you could have up to 500 killer drones at a time coming into the map. If it was even that much, I'm not sure. But you just have continuous hunter-killers just coming in, swooping down on the enemies. And yeah, most of the time when there was an enemy swarm, then I would leave the game. Because it's that rage-inducing. It's but it's a really fun streak to use. However, on maps where there's a lot of cover and a lot of buildings, it can actually be one of the worst streaks to use. But on the more open maps where there's really nowhere to go, then then it is a much more lethal streak, and it can just be really helpful. Wait, so those are the really big streaks. I'm pretty sure, right? Let me just think. Oh, for 850 and 900 kills. Score. They actually brought the death machine back from Black Ops 1, except this time it was a selectable streak. That's for 850. You would have 200 bullets, and you would carry around basically a portable sentry gun. A minigun, basically. You would just carry around a minigun with 200 bullets, and in Black Ops 2 you could actually sprint with it, whereas in Black Ops 1 you couldn't. And then it's, I don't know whether to call it a big brother or a little brother, the War Machine. It was a semi-automatic grenade launcher. You would have 6 grenades in the thing in the cylinder. It's basically it's kind of like a 6-shooter, like a 44 Magnum, for instance, where you have the cylinder instead of the magazine. You would have 6 grenades in the cylinder and 6 in reserve. This thing was a lot of fun. Is it worth 900 score? Definitely. I feel that it could have been like 1,000 score instead of the AGR. I mean, the War Machine was really fun. However, one thing that I really didn't like about Black Ops 2 were the maps. The maps, I thought, especially the map packs, I absolutely hated them. In my opinion, worst $40 or $50 I've ever spent on a season pass. And in my opinion, some of the worst maps of all time in Call of Duty. But while we're on Black Ops 2, something that I thought of that was actually introduced in World at War, then ramped up in Black Ops 1, and again in Black Ops 2, was Zombies mode. Once again, I'm terribly sorry for keep going back and forth. But in Call of Duty World at War, you had Nazi Zombies mode, where you would choose a map, and you would try to survive for as many waves of zombies as you could. You start out with a pistol, and in each round the zombies do get more powerful. They have more health, and you could for each time you get hit on a zombie, you get points. For each time you kill a zombie, you get more points. And you could buy weapons off the walls in the game, and excluding the first standard map that came with Nazi Zombies mode in World at War, you could buy perks. You had 4 perks available in World at War. You had Juggernog, which instead of 2 hits and you would go down, you could now take, I believe, 5 hits, 6 hits if you had the Juggernog glitch. Maybe that was just Black Ops 2, I'm not sure. But so you would have Double Tap, which would increase your fire rate by 1/3, so you would shoot 1/3 faster. And then you had Speed Cola, which was basically sleight of hand, so you could reload faster. Very helpful perk. Black Ops 1, Zombies was ramped up a lot. I liked the maps a lot better overall. You had new perks that were introduced. I think one of the only ones that was introduced, it might have actually been you had a few perks that were introduced. You had a Deadshot Daiquiri, which whenever you aimed in at a zombie, you would automatically aim in at their head, and you would have a smaller hipfire block, so hipfire was a lot easier. You had Stamina Up, which was basically like extreme conditioning, where you could sprint for twice as long. And then you had a Mule Kick, which which allowed you to carry 3 weapons at the same time instead of just 2. Yeah, and finally we're coming back to Black Ops 2. Yeah, the zombie maps in Black Ops 2 were probably my personal favorite. I feel like they really, really made up for the really sucky multiplayer maps. I don't think there were any new perks introduced in Black Ops 2. I don't think there were, but yeah. I mean, there were actually a few new aspects. Something that was in all 3 Call of Duties that had zombies mode. Excuse me, was the Pack-a-Punch machine. For 5,000 points, you could upgrade your weapon so that it would have a new camo, which looked so cool. The muzzle flash you would get, it was like red and purple. It was pretty awesome. And the gun would sound different when it shot, and it would be a lot more powerful. And you would, I believe, with every gun that you packed punch, you would always get an attachment. Most often, and I believe it's with most every gun, you would get an extended clip, so you would have more ammo and clips, so you wouldn't have to reload as often. But yeah, all that damage boost. But Black Ops 2, the sniping, it was alright. I mean, a lot better than Black Ops 1, I'm going to say that. Although you didn't have, Black Ops 2, you actually didn't have upgraded perks, so like in Modern Warfare 2, for instance, if somebody had Sleight of Hand, Pro, then the person with Sleight of Hand Pro would aim down their sights faster. However, in Black Ops 2, if someone had, let's say, extreme conditioning, like they'd both be able to sprint for twice the amount of distance, except nothing really. I mean, they wouldn't have any advantage over the other person. And Black Ops 2 was the first game that had a brand new created class system. You had 10 points to spend. You would spend 1 point, on a primary weapon, each attachment that you had on your primary weapon, a secondary weapon, a perk, a lethal equipment, a tactical equipment, and a wild card. Wild cards allowed you to have an extra perk 1, 2, or 3. Overkill, which allowed for 2 primary weapons. Nobody ever used overkill, ever. Just never. Horrible perk, never use it. You also had primary and secondary gunfighter, which allowed for a 3rd attachment on your primary weapon, or a second attachment on your secondary weapon, respectively. What else to say? There's also, if you didn't have a primary weapon or a secondary weapon equipped, it would automatically give you the combat knife. The combat knife was one of the only ways in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 where you'd have lunge. They practically took out all knife lunge in Black Ops 2 except for the combat knife and a tactical knife. Unless you were like within a few inches of somebody else. Then you would have like the regular knife and you would lunge within a few inches. However, one thing I wasn't really a big fan of in Black Ops 2 was the lag. There were many lag issues that I had to face through it, and I mean, Black Ops 2, very good game, don't get me wrong, but the lag issues were actually pretty bad. Like for instance, in the final kill cam, you know how it slows down. Somebody runs past you, you knife, they're already past you. You knife, they're off screen, and you get the kill. very bad lag issues. Anyway, final part, Call of Duty Ghosts. I've had Call of Duty Ghosts since a few days after it came out. And yeah, I really like it. The created class system, it's kind of like Black Ops 2 in a way. If you had, if you didn't have a primary, you would automatically get the combat knife. However, if you didn't have a secondary, you wouldn't get the combat knife. But yeah, now perks. You start out with 8 perk slots. Now you had actually the most amount of perks in the game. I remember counting. I think in total there's 42 perks in Call of Duty Ghosts. So there are many combinations you can make. Perks are categorized. Well, they were organized into categories. You had speed, handling, stealth, resistance, elite, and then I think one other thing. Perks ranged between 1 and 5 perk points. The 1 point perks, they weren't as useful as let's say 2, 3, 4 point perk. 2 point perks, those I think were the most common. It might have been like a mix of 2 and 3 point perks. Anyway, so you have the 2 point perks, which were more effective than the 1 point. 3 points were more effective than 2. 4 more effective than 3. 5. There was actually only 1 5 point perk, and that, if you knew you could get kills, then that was the perk for you. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You can take a look at it for yourself. Yeah, I'm not screw it. I'll spoil it for you. It's a perk called Deadeye. For each consecutive kill that you get, up to 4 kills, you had a certain percentage chance of increased bullet damage. But it was random which bullets you would get. You would get that bonus on. In order to unlock guns, you would earn things called squad points. Each gun had a set amount of squad points that you need to unlock it, and then all the attachments, they also cost a certain amount of squad points. Lethal's, tacticals, and perks. However, perks you could unlock just by leveling up, but if you didn't want to wait, then you could unlock a perk. And let's say you want to unlock Sleight of Hand. It's a 2 point perk. It would cost. Alright. Well, it costs. Any perk costs X amount of points. In order to unlock said perk without leveling up, it would cost 3x. So if it was a 1 point perk, it would cost 3 squad points, 2, 6. Then like the 5 point perk would cost 15 squad points to unlock. And this Call of Duty, you could customize what your character actually looks like. It was the first Call of Duty game. In all other ones, you'd be given a set character to look like. And it wasn't random, but you had. It would be coded so that you would look like this. Then if you die, you would look like this. I look like that. Blah blah blah. Now you can customize not only the look but also the gender. So you can choose between a male or a female. Also, I'm sorry. Excuse me for a second. Also. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot what I was gonna say. Also, something I'll get back to it if I remember. New thing in Call of Duty Ghosts: dynamic map elements. On certain maps, you could do certain things on the map that would change how the map would look. Like on one of the maps, Prison Break, for instance, there's a pile of logs that you can shoot, and it will fall over, and anybody that's underneath it will get crushed. And there's one map in the game, Strike Zone. If you get a KEM strike, which is basically like the Moab from MW3, which I actually forgot to explain. It's basically like the tactical nuke, except it only kills the enemy team, and instead of a 25 point streak in MW3, it was 25 kill streaks. So you could only get kills with your gun, your lethals, your tacticals, etc. So point streaks wouldn't matter. So the KEM strike it's a 25 kill streak. But anyway, so if you were to happen to get a KEM strike on the map Strike Zone, then the entire map would look different. The layout of it, everything would just be destroyed, all crumbled apart. It looks really, really cool. The entire map has changed. I haven't really noticed any issues with Call of Duty. Oh, sorry. The thing that I was forgetting earlier. Now you have squad members, and you level each of them up individually. And for each squad member, you could pick the one that you play as, so you can choose when to level up this one, when to level up that one, blah blah blah. Something else I can't quite remember. Oh my god. Oh yeah. You could set classes for each of your squad members that were AI. So whenever you were playing as this squad member, all your other squad members would have a set class. So that was really cool, and you could make the class too. Anyway, the moment you all been waiting for a little under an hour. My favorite Call of Duty. I'm going to go from my least favorite up to my personal favorite. My least favorite Call of Duty is going to have to be Modern Warfare 2. I wasn't really a fan of this. Too many overpowered, too many overused things. I didn't really like it. I liked it when I first got it, but not so much in recent times. Second to last, World at War. I liked it, but there were things in it that was just I didn't really like. It was just iffy to me. And it was very and all the Call of Duties in the World War II era, that was so common. The one I liked third least, Black Ops 1. It was good. Don't get me wrong, but just once again, everybody would find the same thing to use, and it was just, I don't know. I wasn't really a big fan of the guns or the maps. I mean, some of the maps were all right, but yeah. My fourth least favorite or fourth favorite, I don't know. It's gonna be Call of Duty 4. Like I said, I had a very, very good time playing this game. But there are certain Call of Duties that I do like better than it. Are we down to our... Yes, now we are down to our top 3 Call of Duties. In third place, my third favorite Call of Duty that I've ever played, Black Ops 2. This one was really good. It introduced a lot of new things. But, I don't really have too many bad things to say about it. It was a really good game overall. And then, in second place and first place, respectively, I'm going to go with Call of Duty Ghosts and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Ghosts was a very, very good game, but I'm still gonna stick with Modern Warfare 3 as my personal favorite. I feel like my skill level over other players in the game was very good. Yeah, I got mad at it sometimes, but it flowed really well. To me, like, I didn't really notice a whole lot of lag issues. And I just had a really, really good experience playing that game. But yeah, I'm Ghost. I'm gonna have to give it a second place. I do like it better than Black Ops 2. Just by that much though. It's just by that much. But yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to go with Modern Warfare 3. So guys, let me know in the comments what your personal favorite Call of Duty is, and why, and let me know if you guys would pick a different order than I did, and I will see you guys around, hopefully with another Call of Duty video pretty soon. Bye.